Hello everyone and welcome to Stitched Ain't Easy. My name is Ashley. Thank y'all so very much for joining me today. Alright, today is not going to be, I said it on here before, the Lucille Ball Happy Peppy Person Vitamin Vegemin type video. Today I'm highly upset. As some of y'all know, I have a series on here called Crime and Crochet. I haven't made those in a little while simply because I want to do like some older cases, ones that aren't really going to affect like the victims or the victims' families or the perpetrator, I suppose, even their families, right? So I would like to do some older cases and things. One of the cases that I've already done that was very near and dear to my heart is the case of Lauria and Ashley. I'm like just trying to breathe through this right now. So it's been over a year probably since I did that one. It was Laura Bible and Ashley Freeman. I will link that below because that is just a wild case. So in 1999, the two girls were staying the night. It was Ashley's birthday. They were staying at her house. Laura came to stay at Ashley's house. There was a murder, and the girls, Ashley's parents were murdered. Originally, they thought it was the father, and then they went back the next day to investigate. Actually, Laura's parents went back the next day to investigate and found Ashley's father laying on the ground at the crime scene. Investigators had stepped on his body. That's how much attention to detail was paid into this whole case. And yes, Welch isn't very far from me, and so if I ever get pulled over in Welch, I'm probably going to have an issue with any of the cops if they've ever seen this, because y'all did not do your job. Okay, so so like I said, they thought at first that he was the suspect. No. So this was in 1999. Finally, in 2020, a man named Ronnie Busick pled guilty to the murders. So I have goosebumps. He said that him and two other guys, so there were three guys involved in the murders of the girls. The bodies still have never been found. They say where they were at Welch is very close to a town called Pitcher Cardin. Used to be town. It is dang sure a ghost town now. They had lots of chat piles and lots of just like run off the water. All of these things were very hazardous. People were getting cancer. It was a very, very, very bad thing. They shut the town down. The government was like, no more. It's just right down the road too, which I feel like creek runoff, if you're going the right way, is probably not a good thing, but that's just me. I don't know. Anyway, so Ronnie says that him and the other two guys had the girls, kept the girls for a while, because this was in December. This was right before Christmas, whenever the murders happened, and whenever they took the girls. They allegedly had them alive through New Year's, took them to a New Year's party. It makes me nauseous just talking about it. Kind of showed them off a little, to say the least. There were several Polaroids of the girls taken, like tortured, and all sorts of just awful, awful things. There were photos. Other people, other than those three men, I would like to point out, have seen those photos. Same thing, I probably live by some of these people. What's up? How you doing? Go ahead and tell me that you're the people. I will narc you out in a hot second. Because just the ickiness factor, I can't, of like someone showing you that photo and you just keeping your mouth shut. There's a special spot for folks like that, I feel like. Just saying. So two 16-year-old girls tortured. Like I said, were taken to the New Year's Eve party. At some point after New Year's, allegedly, they were murdered. They dumped the bodies. Ronnie Busick gave ideas of where they were, where the girls were. They went back to Pitcher and tried to dig them up. tried to find the bodies and they could not find them where he said that they were. There was a house that one of them used to have, like one of the guys used to live in. It may have been Ronnie's house actually, but I don't think it was. Anyways, it was one of the guys' house, and he said that they buried them back there. The cops went to like the lot because, like I said, everything's pretty much gone in picture at this point. But yeah, they went back to the lot and they didn't find the girls, which is very sad because, I mean, all of the families have been searching for them. Ashley's grandparents, also the Bible family, have been very, 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 very involved. Lorraine and her husband were actually the ones that went back, like I said, and found the body of Ashley's father. They're actually the ones that have kind of kept us alive and in everyone's, to be honest, kept it in the investigators' faces this whole time, which, as a parent, I feel like what else are you going to do but fight for your kid, but also the strength that takes to just, for decades now, just to fight for your kids is one tough mama bear right there. Because my goodness. Okay, so, like I said, there were 3 men then, according to Ronnie Busick. Seems like a real stand-up dude. I'm sure we can trust him, right? So, anyway, according to Ronnie Busick, like I said, there were 3 men involved. The other 2 have since passed away, which is just sad that they never got, that the girls and the families never got the justice from them that they deserved. They still deserve. They deserve to find the girls at a bare minimum, just to have that peace, just to have that, just to know, because, I mean, they're still missing. Since 1999, they're still considered missing. I mean, you know, they're allegedly not alive. But yeah, they're still missing. They don't have any closure by any means. So yeah, the other 2 men have since passed away, which is just so sad. So Ronnie Busick was convicted of the murders in 2020. Hello, it's me from 2023, pointing out once again, these murders, because it wasn't just the 2 missing girls, there were in fact murders. They murdered a whole couple, okay? Burnt their house down, all sorts of violent, awful things. If you guys haven't seen that case, may I suggest you watch the other video. It's whatever y'all want to do. As is always, no pressure, Chanel. But if you guys would like to watch that, kind of get you caught up. Because it's a whole other thing. It's not just that little bitty blip of this 8 minutes of what I've told you guys. It's so much. So, anywho, in 1999, there was a double murder and 2 girls missing. That's 4 people. There was like a lot of kerfuffle, to say the least, with the Freeman's son. He was also murdered at a different time, but that family has been through it, to say the least. And I really don't want to ever get stopped in Welch, Oklahoma, because I'm telling you, there's some, have y'all ever seen that, what is that movie called? Oh, darn it. Nothing But Trouble. That's what it is. Where like Demi Moore and the Chevy Chase, and there's 2 couples or whatever, and they're like driving down through this little like podunk town and get pulled over and then get in front of the judge, who I believe is Dan Aykroyd. And is that right? Is it Dan Aykroyd? Anyway, I feel like that's what it would be like if you ever got pulled over in Welch, Oklahoma. I'm just gonna say it. Podunkery. Okay. Sorry if you're from Welch. Also, your investigators suck. All right, so there's that. I live in the same county, which is terrifying. So there's that. So, anywho. Y'all, I'm so upset right now. I don't know if you can get this out. So yeah, in 2020, they finally put this man who murdered 2 people, kidnapped, tortured, took Polaroids of 2 innocent girls. So there's, like I said, 4 total. In 2020. It's 2023. And late last month, so in April, they announced that they are going to be releasing Ronnie Busick from prison. He originally, which was even just disgusting. Yes, now he's an old man, and they were kind of looking forward to him, honestly. I was personally, not to be like that warped about it, but honestly, if you're going to mess with that many people and their families, you kind of deserve to die in prison. I feel like I kind of think that's the next logical step for you, Dewey. You know what I mean? And so that was what it was going to be. Like, he's an old man. They only gave him 10 years, which was also just like made my skin crawl after all the effort, all the work that the families had put into finding these jerks. That's going to be my nicest way of putting that did this to their daughters and to their sons and to their grandchildren and to, I mean, you know, however you look at it, generationally. He got 10 years in prison and 5 years of probation, which I feel like is just one of these. Like, even if we divide that by 4, not enough time. Even for one person, I don't feel like 10 years is enough for murdering someone, especially 4 people. So, just my opinion. So yeah, he got 10 years in prison, 5 years probation. As of last month, in April, they decided, like I said, they're going to release him from prison. They are going to give him, so in all, he served 2 years and 4 months for 4 murders. And he is receiving credit for time served. Isn't that lovely? What a good dude. So, as of May 19th, today is what? The 8th. In 11 days, they're going to let this dude out of prison. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know the purpose. I don't know the reasoning. I don't know anything. Why would you let a murderer loose? Convicted. I mean, gave himself up, told everyone descriptions and vivid detail of what happened. And they're going to let him go. Free to walk the streets. And in the thing that I read, it didn't say anything at all about probation, which I feel like surely he's still going to be on probation. But I feel like that's also a really important part of the article that perhaps you should add in. I don't know. But yeah, he served 2 years and 4 months of his already ridiculously low sentence of 10 years for murdering 4 people. There are people in prison right now, let's just be real, for marijuana, serving life sentences. And this jerk got 2 years and 4 months for 2 murders and the disappearance of 2 16-year-old girls from 1999. He's been out. I would like to just point that one out also. Since it all happened in 1999 up until 2020, dude's just been living life. Been free on the streets, doing as he pleases, doing whatever. While these families have searched for these girls. This guy's just been living his life, as creepy as he may be, still out on the streets free. And now, 2 years and 4 months later, he's gonna be free again. And if that doesn't give you the ick about our justice system, because it dang sure gives me the ick. Like, I'm irate. I am trying real cool to be like, yeah, okay, but as I mentioned in the video, whenever I made that Crime and Crochet, it hit very close to home to me, because like I said, I'm from right around here, or, you know, from Oklahoma. They were girls that were my age. One of them's name was Ashley Freeman. My maiden name starts with an F. It's a very kind of close to-ish type thing. I don't know. There was just, you know, when you're younger and you hear something that's kind of people your age, kind of your whatever, and you're just like, oh wow, it hits very close to home. And so for years, I have followed this case and just been heartbroken that justice was never ever served. And so finally in 2022, it was one of the good things that happened in 2022. Or 2020, I mean. It was one of the decent things that happened in 2020. was them finding Ronnie Busick guilty and sentencing him to prison for 10 years, which isn't very long, but for everyone else, it was perceivably the rest of his life, which will work. You know what I mean? Especially since he's been free this whole entire time. But instead, in lieu of serving time for murders, he will be out in time for Memorial Day. Be able to go to the lake or do whatever the heck he wants. And I don't see how that's right. I don't care about like his time served, because to me, you haven't served anything, sir. You've been in there for 2 years, which is a blip on the radar of what you should even remotely be in there for. But also, I don't give a crap about your time served. I'm not impressed. Say you were like the ideal inmate and everyone was just like, oh my gosh, but he sweeps the floors and he's so nice to the guards. Who cares? You murdered 4 people. 2 people over a potentially, allegedly, a drug deal gone wrong. And then kidnapped their 2 daughters, or 2 daughters, should I say, their daughter and a friend who was just there staying the night because it was the one girl's birthday. Went into the field, drug them into your car, set them in the car, took off with them, kept them alive for a few weeks. And you got 2 years for that? So, I cannot even fathom how Lorraine Bible is feeling right now, how all of that, how just, what a joke. I mean, honestly, that this must look like to all of them, and just all of the effort and the time and the money that they have put into this, trying to find these girls, going to the searches. She would be there whenever they would try to find, the dig to find the bodies. She would be there. She's been there through this whole entire thing. She's like the one that's kept this case alive. And for it to only be 2 years in and they're releasing this dude. The other 2 guys died. They didn't even get to see them serve, like justice served for them. They just lived their lives out in the world the whole entire time. This dude got 2 years, and then he's going to get to live his life out the rest of the time. Meanwhile, they still, since 1999 to 2023, still have not found these 2 girls. I personally, at a minimum, let's say, okay, yeah, like for time served, what a good dude, I am sure. Just ick. Okay. At a minimum, they shouldn't let him out to see the sun until they find those 2 girls. At a bare minimum. Even after that, I feel like he should just kick it the rest of his life, probably in that really dark room, never seeing the sun again. I feel like that's probably a pretty good spot for someone who is that just sadistic. And yeah, I'm not sure about the death penalty. I really don't feel all that whatever about the death penalty. I feel like God is the only one that can kind of judge you in that route. But however, if you're a wicked person, yeah, there's a spot for you here, and it's called prison. It's called a cell, and it's called, no, you can't feel the rain on your skin anymore. Of course not, silly goose. You murdered 4 people. I feel like that's only fair. And I feel like it's only fair, said, until he tells them where they are and they actually find the 2 girls. He should stay there until then. Not for time served. I mean, it didn't say anything about good behavior, but I mean, honestly, like, I don't care how crowded the prisons are. Like, there are a lot of other people that could probably be let out for real minor stuff that's not that big of a deal, where some dude that murdered 4 people, yeah, I think he can hang out. I think he'll be all right staying there, So yeah, I don't even know. I'm like, are you kidding me? I read this a couple weeks ago and I tried to just block it out of my brain. I'm gonna be honest. I read it, I guess a little over a week ago. Well, no, it's May 8th. Yeah, it's about 2 weeks ago, whenever they mentioned it. And I've just tried to block it out of my brain. And it was on my news on like the Tulsa News website today. And yeah, so because that was one of our crime and crochet stories, because it does just hit so close to home because of so many reasons, I felt like I needed to give you all an update on that one. I don't know how else to say that I feel other than just gross and icky about the whole thing. It's wrong. They said at a minimum they should keep him there until they find the girls. I feel like that's just like at the bare of what they could do. I don't think he deserves to see a bird again, or feel the grass, or see the sun. All these like little wonderful things that some of us just take for granted every day. Those girls haven't got to. You know, they didn't even get to see. One of them just had their birthday, just turned 16. So they didn't get to live their lives and do those things. So why does this jerk get to? Why did the other two dudes get to? Why did everyone that saw the Polaroid pictures that were taken of the girls being tortured, and then they were passed around, and all of those people were just out free, running around? Which also, I feel like, if you see a Polaroid of someone being tortured and you don't come forward to, maybe not the investigators that are handling the case because they're doing a real crap job, maybe to someone else, some other group, and tell them, hey, I saw this. If you're not that person, then you also, I feel like, deserve to be sitting right by Ronnie Busick, still in prison, because you knew something major. And some of them saw the girls still alive and didn't say anything. Knew what was going on. Welch is a very small town. It's very obvious. Like, if two girls get kidnapped, people are probably gonna know. It was a pretty big story. And so the fact that a week and a half after the kidnapping, you saw girls that looked very similar to the description that was all around, and that kept getting played on like Tulsa News and local news and in the newspaper and all of those things. And you were at a party with a bunch of like 40-some-year-old dudes, and there are these two teenage girls in the room that don't look happy to be there. Pop quiz hot shot, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think? Who do you think they are? And like the nerve of, even if you think that they might be and maybe they aren't, that you don't say anything, given the circumstances of two missing teenage girls that fit the description of the two girls that are at the party you're at, gives me the ick. And I feel like they should be there too, like in prison too. That's just me. At least be, you know, I feel like that's withholding evidence. I mean, I don't know. I feel like at some point that's withholding evidence, especially, like I said, if you were there, saw them there physically. Also physically saw Polaroid photos, didn't say a word. I mean, I feel like that's something, you know? I feel like that's something. So, yeah, just the absolute ick. Like, I don't even know. I mean, I'm so upset. I'm trying to be cool because I'm on, you know, the YouTube-ness right now. I really just want to scream and cry. I cannot even fathom what their families are going through. What? 2 years and 4 months from a murder from 1999. So it's from 1999, 2000, 2001, 2003, 2004, all the way up until the dadgum pandemic, until 2020, this man walked free, living his life. And now, not even 2.5 years later, he gets to do the same thing all over again. And for all those years, the Rain Bible fought for her daughter and for Ashley, and is still fighting for them. And it makes me so sad for her husband, for their grandparents, for siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, friends. Because 2 years isn't long enough. I feel like if you kick a dog, that's not long enough in prison. Like if you were to like, I mean, I feel like maybe, I guess if we're going to go a drug charge, maybe 2 years, but I feel like if anything, you should send them to rehab. I don't think prison where like all the drugs are accessible is probably really the ideal spot to send someone like that. That's just me. I feel like 2 years for 4 murders, it makes my brain hurt. The math does not math. And just the pain is still there, you know, and it's like it all got reopened in like 2019, 2020, whenever he told them where the girls were, and whenever they went and tried to find them, it's like this, you know, open wound all over again. And in just a few days, he's gonna be a free man. And it makes me sick. It makes me sick. I don't know. I mean, surely they won't let him go live where he's lived. Maybe they will. Out of just like the safety, his own personal safety. I feel like that's probably not a good move. But I mean, I don't know. He's been out this whole time, and so maybe, you know, I don't know. But I'm disturbed, very disturbed by the whole thing. It makes me sad. It makes me very sad. It makes me very angry. A lot of emotions. Mostly why? You know? There's no reason at all. The man should have... I mean, I hate to say that. It makes me feel even cold saying it, but I mean, legitimately, the guy should have died in prison. What harm or foul would it have done for anyone? You know what I mean? But letting him free is hurting a lot of people that were involved, that a lot of family members. Him being in there was the only justice that they had because they still don't have their girls. So yeah, I guess why would be my question. Anywho, it's like getting more upset the more I talk about it. I'm starting to itch now. Just usually if I eat like something I can't have, or if I'm just really upset, then I'll start to itch. So, anywho, so okay. I don't know. I just wanted, like I said, to give you guys the update because we did the case. We did the Laura and Ashley case on here on Crime and Crochet. And a few of you had heard that case before. Some of you hadn't. Some of you remembered whenever it happened. And so for that, I just wanted to give an update to let you know that in 11 days, this murderer, self-admitted murderer, will be walking the streets again. So, anyway, I just said wanted to do that update so it wasn't lost, I guess, to anyone that has been following the case, because I know whenever I did that first video, I had several people, like said, that were like, I remember when this happened, or I've, tried to pay attention to this the whole time, and just in case, because it's just kind of a new thing that, so yeah, at the end of April, they decided to let him go, and then now, not even a month into it, they're like, yeah, we have a date to release him. Which is not okay. It's not. And my heart breaks for all the families. It's everyone involved. So yeah. So I know I haven't done crime and crochet for a while. This is kind of why. To be really real, like this is kind of the epitome of why I haven't done crime and crochet, because there are still people that these cases still affect. Very much so, that are still very fresh, still very new, just like that. Like, so they still haven't found the girls. So to me, I don't know how you would ever even remotely begin to heal if you can't even have that closure. So I feel like this whole time it's probably been a really, really fresh wound. And then in 2019, it was just like even more so. So for 20 years, they wondered where their kids at. And that's a lot to put out, to just make it like a little story and make it, you know, because I like to do mine where I research and do the book report type thing or whatever. This isn't a book report, you know, it's someone's life, it's someone's kid, it's someone's story. So for future crime and crochet, I've mentioned that I was doing the Osage Reign of Terror. I can't do that one, y'all. I can't. Every time I go to even look into that one, I get so upset. It's not even funny. And that would probably be a really hopping video right now, because they're getting ready to come out with Killers of the Flower Moon with Leo DiCaprio, and Martin Scorsese directed it. And it's going to be a huge thing. It's like the perfect time really to talk about it. I can't bring myself to talk about Miss Molly and her family and all of the Osage. It's not even just her. It was just kind of, that book kind of centers a little bit more around her story, but it's all of the Osage that had money and had oil rights. And same thing, that one hits real close to home. And I can't do it. Every time I go to, I get so upset. Like my face is red and I start crying. I get so upset. Another one that I was going to do that I have almost completely written out was a pair of sisters. They were two sisters, and they were taking care of their elderly father. Anyway, and that whole thing. That one I feel like might still be okay to put out, just kind of because it's a little bit older, but it doesn't really have to do with like I will not do kid ones. This is like the Laura and Ashley's as close as I'll get to a kid one, simply because I was like around their age when it all happened. Otherwise, no kids, nothing like that. That's been my rule the whole time. I feel like the two sisters, that was just kind of a wild little case where the one just couldn't shut up and just spilled all the beans, and so just kept talking, and you know, it hoses you, you know. So don't murder folks and then keep talking, you know what I mean? Shh. Anyway, but I feel like that one might be okay, just because it's not really like kid stuff or someone trying to find whatever. It's these two idiot sisters that were like older anyway, and I feel like that'll be an okay one. So I think I might put that one out, and then after that I'm going to go back to like older cases, like older cases. Some of them, I hope that they're all solved. Some of them are cold cases that, you know, never did get solved, but they're all going to be like older things that hopefully aren't still affecting people quite like even this one, quite like Laura and Ashley. Another one that I did was the Mullendore murders, which I feel like the Mullendores, like, you know, that's still relevant and all of those things, just because, but I mean, everyone kind of involved in that story is either since passed or it was like one of the kids and now they're grown. So I feel ones like that are probably a little bit different than ones that are just within the last 20 years. Like right now, currently, I don't know if y'all have seen this, but currently in Henrietta, Oklahoma, stuff is going insane right now. They have found like 7 bodies at this guy's house. They were looking for 2 people, found 7 bodies, it is like unfolding. Stuff is crazy. And like, I would like to come on here and talk about stuff like that just simply because it's from Oklahoma. It's in Henrietta, but it's all just so fresh and so new and so hurtful that I don't want to do that. I don't want to bring up like bad things, you know, that can still affect people, and that for sure can, because they just found those people within the week. Laura and Ashley, I feel like it was one that was near and dear to my heart just because, and so I just wanted to tell that story. And then after I did, it's kind of like crap because it's still insanely relevant. But it's like, hey, cool though, they put Ronnie Busick in prison, so at least, you know, out of the 3 dudes, at least one guy's in there. I haven't found the girls, but you know, it's something. But now that they're letting him out, I'm just like, yeah, I kind of wish I wouldn't have talked about that one, just because it's still so relevant. It's still so, I mean, honestly, still new, even though it's not. So from here on out, for Crime and Crochet, yeah, they're all going to be older cases. Like I said, I'll probably go ahead and do the one about the sisters, because it is just like, how dumb can you be? It's basically what that one is. Like, it's really quite impressive. But as far as like the Osage, I can't do that one. Too close to home. Can't do that one. But I'm sure it's going to be, well, I don't know. I would like to say I'm sure it's going to be a great movie. It's Killers of the Flower Moon is what the movie's going to be called, because that's what the book's called. It's one of those where I'm glad that the story's being told, because it's a story that needs to be told. Needs to. If y'all don't know about it, you need to know about it, because there's a lot of people talking about things that are going wrong in our country, and you know, that have gone wrong, things that people have went through, all this stuff. Yeah, there's so many layers to all of those things, and the Osage Reign of Terror is one of the darkest layers of all of those things. So if you don't know about that one, yeah. However, it makes me sad that they have to tell the story. I said, but if some people don't even know, I feel like it would do people good. I mean, education is important. So, me personally telling that one, I can't. I've tried. I have everything pretty much written out, and I'll go back and just try to like read through it just to see if everything's in the right order. We need to, you know, like proofreading, just making sure everything's right. And I get so upset just reading back through it that I really don't think I can get on here and read it aloud and put it out there. So there's that. So yeah, so I still will have Crime and Crochet. They're just going to be older things, which honestly, like I said, I kind of felt like Laura and Ashley was, you know, like older because it was 1999, but it's not, because it's still insanely fresh and new, and it's not older. So yeah, I thought at one point doing like the Girl Scout murders, which is also like a famous Oklahoma thing. Same deal. There's kids. I don't want to do anything with kids. I just don't. I can't even watch like true crime stories that have to do with kids. I'll just be like, nope, we'll watch something else. Come back in an hour, see what else they're talking about next, because I can't. So yeah, still, like I said, will be Crime and Crochet. They will just be different ones, some that I haven't even heard about. I'm pretty excited about that. I have a list. He on your little list. Well, yes, they are. Making a list to start researching. But yeah, I've just learned through doing this, there are some that I can't talk about. I can't do. So, all right. So that is the update for Laura and Ashley. I'm trying so hard not to cry right now. It's so wrong that in 11 days, this psychotic murderer is going to be walking the streets again. He walked them for 20 years, and he's going to be out again. And it just makes me sick. It makes me sick. So, anyway, So I just wanted to do an update so that way you guys knew whatever, I guess, about that one, because I did the crime and crochet for that one. So here's your update. The full video I will link below, so in case you guys missed that one. So yeah, all right. I will be back maybe this afternoon, I don't know, sometime. I want to do the punch needle video. I think that's going to be my next one. And I also have crochet ramblings. So there are things to come that aren't so sad and upsetting. But I feel like it's not really an ending, but I feel like this middle blip of the story deserves to be told. I really hope that they find the girls and do get closure, and that that's the way that this story ends. I pray that that's how this ends and it doesn't end here. Because the families deserve that closure. For sure. Like I said, I really do. I feel like they should leave him in there until they find the girls at the bare minimum. Yeah. So, all right. So I thank you all so very much for listening. And I hope you all have a wonderfully, wonderfully blessed day. Please stay safe. I will talk to you all very soon.